Good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm a relative newcomer to getting out and staying out. I just got in, I suppose you could say, although in a very different way. I've been authorized to tell you two things off the top here. This is more people than who have ever attended a GOSO Gala. So this is the highest attendance we've ever had, number one. And number two, I've been required to tell you that what that means is we have to raise more money here tonight than we've ever raised before at a GOSO Gala. Yes, thank you very much. Table 20, I like you already. I had a chance to visit GOSO headquarters up in Harlem last week, and you walk in there and you're just blown away by the level of activity there. You see Mark Goldsmith, MG, sitting in his office making phone calls. I walked into another room, there was a group of guys getting training for how to be security guards. And then you walk into another room, and there were a group of young men talking to a social worker about their talents and their passions, how to match their talents with their passions, which, when you think about it, is the whole ball game. If you can match your talents and your passions, you're pretty much set for life. If you can't do that, it's a problem, right? Growing up, one of my passions was show tunes. I can't sing, so that was a problem. So I became a journalist instead, see what happens. For GOSO, the passion is helping young men make good decisions, helping young men in trouble not just find jobs, but find careers and therefore really find a life. That's their passion. It turns out that their talent is the same thing. They're very good at helping young men find their skills. They're very good at helping young men find careers. They're very good at helping young men get out and stay out. So their passions match their talents in a very, very real way. Just one statistic, which I'm sure you've all seen, if you look at the recidivism rate. In GOSO, for people who go through the program, it's a little more than 10%, somewhere between 10 and 15%. In society, for the same age group, it is more than 50%. That is a huge, huge difference. So that's talent. I mean, that's what can happen when passion matches talent. And what we have to do here tonight is to honor that talent, honor that passion, and to make sure they have the resources to implement both going forward, to get more people involved with this program, to serve more young men. So, please enjoy yourselves this evening. Please be generous. You can do both. If you can only do one, please be generous. I have one more promise to make that I've been asked, which is to guarantee you that we will be done here by 9:15. This will be fun, but it will be short. So please stay the whole time until the end. We've got some very exciting things. You're going to hear from some remarkable young men. And we've also got some awards to honor some people who have done some amazing work over the last year. So it's now my pleasure to introduce to you the chairman of the board of GOSO, Reg Andre. Reg.
Thanks, John. So before I begin, I just want to thank you all so much for coming out tonight to support getting out and staying out and to celebrate the accomplishments of the young men tonight. Tonight is all about them. We live in a time when a young man coming out of prison faces more challenges than opportunities and is far more likely to end up back in jail than to earn a diploma or land a job. But this isn't the case for the young men at GOSO, or the guys as we affectionately call them. GOSO meets justice-involved young men where they're at and empowers them to radically change their lives. And you know what? GOSO is damn good at it. Nearly 90% of GOSO's young men do not return to jail. Thanks, Steve. Now, it's my honor to serve as the chairman of GOSO's board of directors. Working with this incredible organization has been one of the most meaningful and inspiring experiences of my life. Not only do I get to do my part in addressing what I believe is one of the most important and pressing issues of our time, but I get to do it as part of a board made up of amazing women and men who are incredibly hardworking, resourceful, and passionate. Of course, being a member of GOSO's board means making decisions about finances and strategy, but at the heart of the board's culture is that we regularly work side by side with the staff and clients. Because we do this, we understand the challenges that these young men face. We understand who these young men really are, and we're better partners to GOSO for it. As ambassadors to GOSO and its mission, board members are often out in different communities, speaking with potential employers for our guys, speaking with potential volunteers and donors. And as you can imagine, at the beginning of these conversations, we met with a wide range of views and attitudes towards the idea of supporting the formerly incarcerated. I've personally spoken with so many people who are excited to support the formerly incarcerated. Some are excited because they believe that reentry services are a crucial part to addressing the civil rights concerns they have with our criminal justice system. Others are excited because they believe that too many people are locked up for doing something in the projects that a kid in the suburbs would just get a slap on the wrist for. And still others are excited because they believe that investing in reentry services is simply a matter of sound economics, that it's far less expensive to invest in the futures of these young men than it is to continuously surveil, chase, and reincarcerate them. But, of course, I've also spoken with plenty of people who just don't see it. They don't believe that investing in the formerly incarcerated is worth it. Now, I don't think I need to tell you all which side of this I fall on, but I will say that all these people that I've spoken with, regardless of their views at the beginning of these conversations, they do have something in common. When I ask them, what would you like a young man to do after coming out of prison? The answer I get 9 out of 10 times is become a productive member of society. Now, this is something we can all get behind, right? Become a productive member of society. Become a productive member of society. Well, talk to any of the guys here tonight, talk to any of the staff, and you'll see that it's just not that easy for them. The formerly incarcerated face so many hurdles, practically debilitating. Employers categorically exclude them. Access to critical social services are limited or even cut off because of their records. Many deal with severe trauma incurred while in prison. Many face homelessness. And then there are the awful and pervasive social stigmas attached to them. And with so many challenges, well, actually, let me say this, the list of hurdles, it goes on and on and on, despite the fact that these young men have already paid their dues, right? They've paid their dues. But these things continue to be challenges that they face. And with so many challenges, it's an incredible success story when anyone gets out from underneath the shadow of their prior incarceration to become a productive member of society. But sadly, it's an unlikely success story to hear in the United States. At GOSO, however, success stories are the norm. With our one-of-a-kind staff, most of whom are licensed social workers, and our holistic programming, justice-involved young men don't only become productive, but they also heal and they thrive. I said it before and I'll say it again, nearly 90% of GOSO's clients don't return to jail. And 75% of the clients who participate in our paid internship programs land full-time jobs. With only... Nice job, guys. With only 12 full-time employees, GOSO provided services to nearly 1,200 young men in 2016. With only 12 employees, GOSO has at least one social worker on Rikers Island 4 days a week, stays open late 2 days a week to provide after-school programming for its adolescent clients, and is open on the weekends to take our guys out on educational and cultural outings. Again, all this done with only 12 employees, sitting in less than 2,000 square feet of office space in East Harlem. Just imagine what we could do, how many more young men we could reach if we doubled or even tripled our staff and had an even larger facility. This is something that the board thinks about every day. You see, even though GOSO is small compared to a lot of organizations, the services it provides are incredibly effective, and they help change the lives of a hell of a lot of young men in New York. So, So what keeps the board so motivated, and what I want you all to understand tonight, is that with GOSO, every bit of effort you put in and every single dollar donated goes a long way and makes a very real difference. Thank you. Now, it takes ambition and guts to take those first steps to change your life. And for so many guys, those first steps led them to GOSO's door. And for over 13 years now, on the other side of that door, has stood Getting Out and Staying Out's co-founder and president, Mark Goldsmith. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Mark Goldsmith.
Hey, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for coming. Whoa. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll take that tribute right to the GOSO guys, because that's what tonight's all about. All right. For those of you who have been here before, welcome back. For those of you who are new, welcome to the GOSO family, because that's what we're all about. 13 years ago, I walked onto Rikers Island for the first time as a volunteer, and I met a terrific woman named Gloria Ortiz, who's with us tonight, my co-founder in Getting Out and Staying Out, right? Gloria was on a mission that I knew I wanted to be part of. That mission to educate and instill hope into young men who had virtually given up any hope of succeeding. When people lose hope, it's because they're focusing on unsurmountable odds, such as the one that faces formerly incarcerated men and women in this country. And there's no question why they didn't have any hope. They didn't know a single person who could help them when they got out. Immediately, I saw that as a window of opportunity. I was going to figure out a way to level the playing field for these young men. However, as I said, tonight is not about me, it's not about you, it's not even about our wonderful honorees. It's about the GOSO guys. Some of you are here tonight. So wherever you are, guys, please stand and be recognized by us. You guys are the best. There are two large signs in the GOSO office. Number one, education leads to jobs, that leads to careers, and then permanent jobs. That's what we're all about. Second, GOSO guys are committed to changing their lives. Without a commitment on their part, nothing is going to happen. That is the motto for the evening. Commitment on their part, connection to us and their communities, that's what we're all about. And the community that they go back into, that they can take some of the ideas that we instill in them and bring them into the community. What do we do? How do we do it? Through interview skills. Many of you in this room have taken part in interview skills training in New York. You don't graduate the curriculum till you come through MG's office, and trust me, you don't want to be in that interview. They sweat pretty good. But you know what? They make it through, and they know how to hold their own in an interview. Keep in mind, I am not the man when it comes to all of this. It's done by the most dedicated group of licensed social workers and staff in the reentry business. Wherever you guys and ladies are all, please stand and hear from the crowd. The GOSO staff. All right. GOSO is also blessed by a great board. Reg Andre. Reg came to a wedding, actually, a GOSO wedding, and he never left. He joined our board of directors and is so committed, we had no choice but to make him chairman of the board. In our room tonight, we have existing board members. We also have former board members who are emeritus, And Reg, I'd like you and Gloria Ortiz, our former founder, to please stand. Hear it for the GOSO Board of Directors. All right, now, I want to talk to you all about something very, very serious. For the balance of the time allotted to me, I want to bring something to your attention. And this is a bipartisan issue. Please do not look at this in any other way. At this point in time in Washington, Attorney General Jeff Sessions is talking about setting back the clock 25 years by overturning President Obama's criminal justice reforms that are working very well, particularly in New York City. When you hear the words a war on drugs or mandatory drug sentencing that does not work, you're going back to the Reagan years. You're going back to Nancy just saying no. It just didn't work. We have more drugs in our streets today than we ever had. If you haven't seen the documentary 13, take a look at it. It's how we got from 200,000 to 2.2 million people being incarcerated. This is not a partisan issue. We need Republicans and Democrats standing together on this issue. There's a force made up of former police chiefs and DAs around the country. You'll know the names. Gray Kelly, one of our best police chiefs. Bill Bratton, they don't come any better. The greatest NYPD force in the country. Along with the DA, Cy Vance, they are forming a coalition to get to Washington and let them understand that this is just not right. And, by the way, look at crime. In New York City, down. Look at stop and frisk, down. The administration needs money for infrastructure. There is so much money and lives being wasted on the criminal justice system and on lives. This is a wonderful place to get it. What is needed are more GOSOs, obviously, because GOSO works, and there are other great organizations that work. So I hope to be in Washington before too long. I hope to hook up with people like the Marshall Project, who we think is on the right place, as well as other organizations. Once again, I want to emphasize non-partisan, Republicans and Democrats together, and we can get these things right. Now, let's get on with it. When I said it's all about the guys, that's what I mean. It's all about the guys. So thank you all so much for coming. And now let's take a look at GOSO in action. Thank you again.
What a wonderful, wonderful film, inspiring. You may recognize some of the stars of that film around this room, maybe sitting at your table, and you're about to hear from a great number of them in just a moment. A few housekeeping notes right here. We have some awards coming up, some wonderful awards for people who've done some terrific work, as well as our corporate donors as well. And I want to point out one thing that may be on all of your tables. You see there's a little flyer there. If you see it, hold it up. There you go, right there. That's text to donate. There are instructions on that form for how you can text in money during this evening. There's no need to wait until the end when we're going to ask you for money again. You can do it right now, and I encourage you all, do it now, do it often, do it at every course. You can't eat now, by the way. There are appetizers on the table. We invite you to enjoy your meals as the evening continues. And now it is my honor to introduce two incredible people involved with GOSO who have had the chance to meet over the last couple of weeks. I want to introduce you to Jeffrey Golia. He is the director of GOSO Works. You saw him on the film right there. And Sarah Blanco, who's the director of programs, to another star of not just the film, but of GOSO in general. Guys.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Blanco, the director of programs at GOSO. And we are thrilled everyone came out to show support of GOSO and our clients tonight. This is the highlight of the evening when our GOSO guys speak and kind of share their story.
Hey folks, I'm Jeffrey Golia. I'm the director of the employment development program GOSO Works. Well, we're gonna hear from the guys now. So first up is Malik Gill. He recently started an internship at Ovenly, one of our 60 employer partners. I said 50 in the video, but it's we've gotten 10 more since then. And thank you. Ovenly was also our 2015 employer partner. Malik's a really great guy, and I'm excited to hear him speak. So let's welcome him to the stage.
Hello, everyone. My name is Malik Gill. I'm a client here at GOSO. I'd like to thank you all for coming out tonight. I'd also like to thank GOSO for the continuous opportunities they present to us GOSO clients. I was raised in the Baychester area of the Bronx. At the time, it was very poverty-stricken, filled with violence and drugs. Adapting to my environment, I got in trouble left and right. Fortunately, though, I moved back and forth between the homes of my mother and father. I wasn't able to get too involved in the crime within a specific neighborhood, avoiding incarceration. Instead, my mother and I made a conscious decision to move me out to Virginia. There, I finished high school and completed a semester of college. Virginia came as a form of rehabilitation for me, positively. Instead of me having to go to Rikers Island like some of the unfortunate guys that come here at GOSO. I returned home, however, though, I returned home to New York, where I wasted a year trying not to return to crime to support myself. When I got home, my older cousin, Chanel Tessafe, who's somewhere here in the crowd, he introduced me to GOSO, who he knew would benefit me substantially. There I met people like Jeffrey Golia, Julia Friedman, Chelsea Kramer, Jenna Roth, Sarah Blanco, Celine Kappen, and many more who involved me in workshops, individual and group counseling that prepared me to excel in the professional environment. GOSO got me an internship at a Mexican grill restaurant called Dos Toros. From there, my permanent customer service got me a job opportunity at a company called Convene, where I was a service technician, making $17.50 an hour. Thank you. Currently, I'm getting back into school to get my degree, and I'm looking to obtain a job with a new company where I can grow with the company and the business and display my true potential. I would like to emphasize the impact that GOSO had on my mind state. Before coming to GOSO, I was more of a selfish person. Kind of, if you're not doing for me, I can't do for you. You can't really live like that. They helped me consider everyone else as well as myself, creating nothing but great opportunities for me and everyone around me. This all came from GOSO, who came more of like a family than a business, or like a or like a pro kind of, you know, an officer you have to meet up with to check you every time. It's like a family that wants to see you prosper. I would like to thank Mr. Bob Swanson, who helped me illustrate my appreciation for GOSO. To GOSO, I'm truly grateful. Thank you.
Hi. Next, I'd like to introduce Jonathan Cameron, a young man who makes the afternoon rounds at GOSO every day after work to connect with staff, to connect with clients. He's a real leader. I refer to him as the mayor of GOSO because he's always making his presence known. So take it away, Jonathan.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jonathan Cameron. I'm just an average young man from the Bronx, and I lost my mother at a young age, and I believe that's the core of where my anger comes from. Not to mention my father wasn't in the picture much either. Me not being able to see and speak to my mother anymore led me to do a lot of stupid things. And not to mention the neighborhood I grew up in didn't make circumstances any better. During my teenage years, I ran the streets with my friends, We terrorized our neighborhood, and that's what landed me in jail. During my incarceration, I began to question myself. Did I want this life? Jail is no place to be. Having my freedom taken away from me was by far one of the worst experiences I've ever encountered. When I was released, I returned to my high school, and I obtained my high school diploma. But for the next 2 years, I sat around doing nothing with my life, procrastinating, until a friend of mine, King Tolan, he introduced me to GOSO. After numerous attempts to get me to join the program, I finally made the decision to come. And I have to say that was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. GOSO has helped me get my life together. GOSO has helped me get my life together. They made me look at life differently. They gave me hope. After a year being a part of GOSO, I obtained my 10-hour construction certification and my general industries OSHA certification. I worked a paid internship at a place called Dogley Devoted, and now I have a full-time porter position I work. I've been doing this for a year now. Not only has GOSO helped me get on track, they kept me out of trouble, and they provided opportunity. You just have to take advantage of what GOSO has to offer. They have workshops that help you find a job and activities to keep you occupied and off the streets. They even helped me work on my dream of maybe one day becoming an actor. I can honestly say I'm happy I walked into GOSO the day that I did. Because of GOSO, my life is so much better. They make me feel like I could be someone, like I matter, and make something of my life. GOSO is more than just a job in this program, they're a family, and I'm happy to have them a part of my life. Thank you.
So next up is King Tolan, who was mentioned by Jonathan. He wanted me to remind you, or to let you guys know, that we've known each other for a long time, and seen him through a lot of jobs and a lot of opportunities. Right now, he's making things happen both in the college classroom and also in the studio, and hope he'll talk more about that. But let's give him a hand. King Tolan.
How's everyone doing tonight? That's good to hear. I appreciate everyone coming out to hear us speak tonight. As you know, my name is King Tolan, and I'm an alumni at GOSO. I've been a part of the program, and I'm an active member for 4 years now. And thank you. The time I have on the stage cannot express how tremendous GOSO has been in my life, but I'm gonna make it work for y'all. I was raised in the inner city, the Bronx, New York, West Burnside, and I started off as a young kid running the streets, attaining to the life of crime, just getting shot, gang violence, which eventually landed me up on Rikers Island. That's where I got connected with GOSO. On Rikers Island, I met with GOSO, I was interviewed, I was accepted, and I was waited on upon my release to come to GOSO. However, I never went. Once I came home, I was back in the streets, and I resorted back to the life of crime, which eventually landed me back on Rikers Island the second time. Spending over a year on Rikers Island is very stressful. In and out of solitary confinement, it takes a toll on you. And balancing whether you want more for yourself with the violence that's going on is also a struggle. So all of that time, I decided that I wanted more for myself, and I was gonna work towards it. And I prayed to God every night I get out of there. And thank God I did. Upon my release the second time, that's when I voluntarily came to GOSO. And they were still willing to accept me with open arms, even though I didn't go the first time. So when I first came home from jail, I was broke. I had no job. When I was locked up, that's when Hurricane Sandy happened, so all of my clothes was flooded. I was unenrolled, unemployed, and I was just struggling. So I turned to GOSO for some assistance. That's when they landed me my first job delivering pizzas at Papa John's. I know it's funny, it wasn't much, but at the time I was desperate and I was appreciative. I had some money in my pocket and I didn't have to resort back to the life of crime, so I was thankful. What I appreciate most about GOSO is how they accept you. They already know your history, they know your background, so you can always be yourself, and they're willing to work with you as long as you're willing to work with yourself, and they motivate you, which empowered me. Upon my release from Rikers Island the second time, GOSO has helped me readapt to society. And despite my past, they let me know that I am someone. And they provided a community-based, family-oriented environment that lets you know you're never alone. And anything positive you want to do, they will support you. And that's a fact. GOSO has helped me how to articulate myself, my mannerism, dress professionally, interviewing skills, you name it, they did it, no matter what. They put me in a suit, a tie, shoes, and they made me feel important. And they helped me believe that I could be, look, we all look alike right now. We got on ties, suits. I feel good. I got on this hat. Well, entering GOSO, after they landed me my job at Papa John's, they helped me get back on track by obtaining some of the things like my birth certificate, social, OSA construction certificate, security license. They even helped me get my driver's permit, and then they helped me get my driver's license, which I failed the first time, but they didn't give up. They stuck with me, and I got it the second time. Most of all, GOSO has helped me to enroll back in college. Because prior years before, I absolutely gave up on education, and GOSO restored that motivation for me. They helped me apply for different schools, get accepted. They helped me with the financial aid process, everything. And now I'm currently about to graduate this spring from Kingsborough Community College. I want to give a special thanks to GOSO for that. Because not only am I graduating from the same college as my sister, they made it all possible. They provided me things like transportation. We all know how expensive MTA is in New York City, but that's one thing I don't have to worry about thanks to GOSO. They provided me with all of my textbooks, and they relieved me of all financial stresses so I could focus on my school and get A's and B's. So after I graduate this spring, I plan on transferring to City College, where I will obtain my second degree in media technology. And speaking of media technology, GOSO absolutely support my dreams and my goals for becoming a music artist. Through GOSO connection with the Osborne Association, I was able to land a job at a program called Vocabulary. Oh, you know that? Yeah. Hi. Well, in case any of the rest of you don't know, Vocabulary is a program, and they produce and distribute educational hip-hop songs worldwide from grades kindergarten through 12th, and I'm one of the artists and ghostwriters there. Not too long ago, GOSO recently held their first hip-hop competition, which landed me a spot on a radio show with one of the most famous DJs in New York City. Thanks to them for that. And GOSO is also about connections and networking. They let me meet fabulous people like you, everybody I'm meeting tonight, and who knows what position I can land thanks to the networking here tonight. I'm available, guys, I'm available. But no, seriously, GOSO, they don't only help me like financially with things I need, but they also help me emotionally. They let me know I'm not alone. They provide mentoring, support on any positive thing you want to do in life. And now, as my friend Jonathan Cameron, I'm motivating all my other friends to come to GOSO and be a part of it. And I'm also motivating myself to see me make a change. I want to thank GOSO for giving me the opportunity to grow as a person, and I want to thank all the amazing staff that has helped me and worked with me over these years. Jeffrey, Sarah, Julia, Jenna, everybody. Bob for helping me put this together, just everybody. Even the staff that's not together but still connected, we still a family. And thank everyone for coming out tonight. Chelsea.
Wow, King lives up to his name, doesn't he? Our last speaker tonight is Ryan DeFort, a GOSO alumni with a very compelling story. We're so grateful to have him here tonight. Thank you, Ryan.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You guys look so much better from up here. Well, my name is Ryan DeFort, and I'm no one special. I was born and raised in Flushing, Queens, and first and foremost, I'm so appreciative of GOSO and everyone here for giving me the opportunity to share a piece of my story. 11 years ago, when I was 15 years old, I was falsely accused of a murder that I didn't commit. I was with the wrong crowd, hanging out with the wrong people. I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. That led me to spending the next 5 years incarcerated in Rikers Island, denied bail 3 times, awaiting my trial to prove my innocence. During that time in Rikers is when GOSO came into my life in the form of a man named Richard Block. Richard played a major role in my life during that chaotic time because he believed in me when I didn't yet believe in myself. Because of GOSO's mission to enhance and empower young men, Richard encouraged me to pursue my education and make the best out of what seemed to be the worst possible situation. He continued to visit me and other potential GOSO clients on about a weekly basis. I decided to make the best out of my situation by bettering myself physically and mentally, and then I went on in the Department of Education in Rikers, acquired my high school Regents diploma and my GED. Thank you. 35 plus adjourned court dates later, I finally started my trial and was acquitted on all charges and found innocent. What seemed to be my biggest setback was actually just a setup for a great comeback into society. Tasting freedom for the first time in 5 years, I attended GOSO, where they helped me set goals together in a positive direction. They helped me put together my resume, applied for colleges, and kept me focused on growth. Fast forward, 6 years later of getting out and staying out, my relationship with GOSO is better than ever. I meet with my mentor, Richard Block, periodically to catch up, and I am now an independent partner leading the expansion of a global marketing company in New York. I feel like I'm just getting started, and I'm super excited about the future. As my final thoughts, I would like to personally thank GOSO, their staff, Mr. G, Mr. Richard Block, for positively impacting my life and countless others through GOSO. I would like to thank each and every one of you here tonight, because without each and every one of you, there really would be no GOSO. Thank you.
Special thanks to Malik and Jonathan and King and Ryan for those words. I think they're inspiring to a lot of us, and you've all been through a lot, but more importantly, you're all working incredibly hard right now, and we all have so much respect for the efforts that you continue to make with GOSO. So thank you for sharing your time tonight. King, I should mention, by the way, I met King before, and he asked me why I was here, and I said, you know, I'm going to be the MC tonight, and King said, hey, I'm an MC also. I said, that's exactly what I do, sort of. Not really. We want to take this opportunity to thank our special patrons tonight, those who purchased tables for more than $10,000. So thank you to all of you. I think we have your names up on the screen right there. So take a look up there and a big round of applause. The silent auction you can see back there, the lights are still on back there. The silent auction is still going on for another little bit until 8:30 or so. Please head back there if you like to bid on some of those wonderful items we see back there. And we're going to have a live ask coming up a little bit later in the evening, so there'll be yet another chance to give, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, we're going to take a short break where you can eat in relative peace, but we'll be back in just a few minutes. All right, folks, we are back. You can continue to nosh on your meals as we continue the programs, continue to finish up on the silent auction back there. But I do warn you, you're going to want to pay attention. You're going to want to hear this next little bit because we have a lot of fun stuff coming up and a lot of wonderful people to honor. One bit of business here. When we put the names up on the screen before of the people sponsoring the $10,000 table, we left a couple names off. We want to give them some recognition right now. Jim McNamara and Mike Siegel. Jim and Mike, thank you very much. They work at Goldman with Reg, which I'm told is a place that might have some influence, I'm told. It is now my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce to you somebody who is a magnificent actor, someone that I've watched for decades. I remember seeing him in the 1990s, back when I thought I was cool and saw off-Broadway plays. I saw him in 3 Days of Rain with my then-girlfriend, who's now my wife. And now that I know I'm not cool, I see you in the Avenger movies as Howard Stark, so I've come full circle. It's my pleasure to introduce four-time Emmy Award nominee, multiple SAG Award nominee, actor, director, writer, phenomenal human being, John Slattery.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you to GOSO for asking me to be a presenter at this year's gala. I learned about GOSO's amazing work from my friend Wendy New. You honored Wendy last year for her dedication, lifelong dedication to criminal justice reform and her commitment to helping ex-offenders find employment with her company, Hugo New. GOSO's work to help young men get out and stay out of the prison system is simply awe-inspiring under the great stewardship of Mark Goldsmith. There is no one more deserving of this award than my friend Rudy Valdez. I first met Rudy when my son Harry was 7 years old at the City and Country School here in Manhattan. Rudy was an assistant teacher at that time, and he was one of those teachers that all the kids loved and all the parents loved. In 2008, we learned that Rudy's sister, Cindy, had been arrested and sentenced to a mandatory minimum of 15 years. She was ripped from her home, leaving her husband and their 3 daughters, ranging from 6 weeks to 4 years old, behind. Cindy, a nonviolent offender, mother of 3, sister and daughter, was locked away for 9.5 years until President Obama granted her clemency in November of 2016. So I'm here to present Rudy with the GOSO Award for the 9.5 years he fought to free Cindy from prison. As you can all imagine, her family was utterly shocked and devastated. Their feeling of hopelessness was all-consuming. Rudy decided to devote his personal and professional life to helping Cindy and their family get through this horrific injustice. Rudy had already left the teaching profession to pursue a career in filmmaking. He worked as a cameraman so he could fly Cindy's kids to visit her. And over the course of these 9.5 years, they moved her to prisons in Illinois, Florida, and finally Kentucky. And with each move came the stark reminder that Cindy was falling deeper and deeper into a system over which they had no control or any voice. Over these very difficult years, Rudy never lost hope. He went to countless hearings on Capitol Hill. He met with nonprofits and caucuses, knocking on every single door, from politicians to nonprofit organizations and advocacy groups. He donated his time and service to organizations involved in the criminal justice system. Rudy tirelessly studied the law. He knew the moment there was any change in sentencing, he had an alert on his phone so he could act on it immediately. He was obsessed. Wherever he could try to make a difference, have influence, he did. To him, there was no alternative but to fight. Along the way, Rudy met many inmates and their families that had been torn apart by the system. Many of the inmates' children were serving their time in foster homes while their parents languished in prison cells. You have to wonder what people do who don't have a Rudy. He told me earlier today that he didn't even dream his fight would end with his sister being pardoned, but that he fought just to give people a voice within the criminal justice system, and in partnering with GOSO, a voice when they exit the system. So I'm very honored to give this award to my friend Rudy Valdez, who gives a new meaning to the word brother.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate you being here tonight. It's very difficult for me to write speeches. I like to speak from the heart, so if I get emotional, bear with me. I'll probably crack a joke or something to ease it. I've struggled a lot about what to say up here because, as Mark Goldsmith said, it's not about the honorees tonight. It's not about anything but these guys. I do feel like I have to talk a little bit about a couple of people who are here tonight that have helped me. I grew up feeling very disenfranchised, feeling like I didn't have a voice, watching my parents, for lack of a better term, the working poor struggle to have a voice and give me and my siblings opportunities. And while they failed time and time again to reach that pinnacle that they were always searching for our family, they never gave up. I failed the 8th grade, and my mother and father used to yell at me a lot about my grades, and for the first time, they didn't yell. They just sort of sat there and were speechless. And in that moment, in that silence, I realized, and it hit me like a wave, all the things they sacrificed to give me a chance. And I didn't know where that would lead me, but I knew that I had to be somebody that they could be proud of. So I set out to be that person, and then years later, I'm really condensing this, but I saw that look again when the federal government took my sister away. And not only did I need to have a voice and make them proud, but I needed to fight. And we're going to show a little video that is emblematic of a part of that fight. So I'll wrap up quickly now, but there are some people that I have to thank. This evening is very special for a lot of reasons. I've had a lot of support from some wonderful people. Wendy New, Sam Bisbee, Jackie Bisbee, my beautiful wife, have helped me throughout this journey, have been a part of me through all of this. And a year ago, Wendy New was honored at this very event, and I was sitting at this table over here, and during her speech, she decided to take some time from it to tell my sister's story, to mention me and mention our fight. And there's been a lot of change throughout that year. And this year, I'm standing up here, and my sister is in the audience. Don't take all of my applause, Cindy. What I hope this story is, what we've done over these past 9.5, 10 years, is emblematic of be symbols of a system that's broken and needs to be fixed. GOSO is such an example of what we can do for the people entrenched in this system. People coming out who don't have, for lack of a better term, a Rudy. People who come out that don't have anything, that don't have anyone. I walked into the GOSO offices and met Mark Goldsmith, and I was completely blown away. And as you saw these guys come up here and say things like, I belonged there. This is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm doing. I have the confidence. I'm doing these things. There's no amount of money you can put on making somebody feel that way. Everyone is here for a reason tonight. You have the opportunity to make an impact. I hope that you, if you are able to, reach into your wallet and help people. We have an administration that is double downing on privatized prisons. We're going to need many, many GOSOs. We're going to need a lot of people to help these people entrenched in this system. People should not be a commodity. I hope that you're part of this fight with me, with GOSO, with all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Rudy, and thank you for joining us from the great state of Michigan tonight. We got a lot more to cover. We're now getting ready to just talk about honorees. How do you get an honoree for an organization? You heard the story about Rudy Valdez. Now you're about to hear about Harry and Alex Ajmi. I received a call from board member Charlie Kushner a few months ago. He said, Mark, I have a great idea, some real philanthropists who we should honor. Now, when Charlie calls me with that kind of call, I respond, because you knew who he picked last year? Wendy knew. So, when Charlie calls, you answer, all right? The more Charlie talked about Harry and Alex, the more interested I became. It turns out they're not just major supporters of causes, they engage in and support local communities, and that's the reason that we're all here tonight. No more than 1 week after I called Harry and Alex, they were at GOSO. In case you don't know it, GOSO is infectious. Alex held a job readiness curriculum seminar, cold turkey, in the GOSO office with 35 guys, and answered all their questions about what it takes to be honored. Now, this award ceremony has 3 parts. As you can see, the rabbi is taking part. But I'd like to know, are Michael Thorne and Joshua Hernandez here tonight? Are either one of them here? Michael Thorne or Joshua Hernandez? They're coming. Where are they? Come up here, guys. You're part of the award ceremony. They're coming? Oh, while they're on their way, I'd like the rabbi to say a few words. Now, the rabbi's also been to GOSO. You don't get here unless you've been to GOSO. So, Rabbi, take it away. You know, when I'm on Rikers, I get a call. The rabbi says, "No, we need a minyan. You need a minyan?" So I'm part of the minyan at Rikers Island. Here's the rabbi.
Good evening. I think it's a great evening. I think Mr. G over here and the people at GOSO deserve a round of applause. So about 3 months ago, I get a call from Harry. I live on the Jersey Shore. He tells me, Rabbi, I want you to come up to the city. We're going to Harlem. I said, we're going to Harlem? Yes. I said, okay. What are we doing? We're going to visit GOSO. Okay. Harry, what is it about? It's about helping guys in Harlem stay out. Harry, I'm coming. No hesitation. Why did I have no hesitation? Because of the following story that happened 350 years ago. With a great sage by the name of Rabbi Azulai. He was a world traveler. In those days, it was very difficult to travel. He was in the city of Paris, by the seashore, by the river of the Seine. As he's standing there by the river, all of a sudden he hears a woman screaming out, crying, "Help me, help me. Save my child, save my child." The rabbi turns, he sees a boy sinking in the river. He jumps into the water. He swims to the boy. He saves his life. He gives the boy to his mother. The mother thanks him, takes his contact information, and goes back home. She ends up being the Queen of France. She summons the rabbi. Please come to my palace. The rabbi comes to her palace. The queen looks at him and says to him, Rabbi, you jumped in the river. You saved my son's life. You're a rabbi, you're a Jew. You know that my son is not. Why did you risk your life to save my son? The rabbi looked at the queen. He said, Your Honorable Queen, you know, in the Bible it's written, all men are created in the image of God. All man, includes every human being on earth, is created in the image of God. How can I not save the life of your son? When the queen heard that, she turned, she looked at him, and she said, My honorable rabbi, I'm opening my treasure. Take whatever you want. Whatever you want, take from my treasure. The rabbi said, Thank you, my dear queen. I don't need anything from the treasure. Well, what do you need? The queen asked him. He tells her, I only need one thing. Please allow me access to the great library in Paris, which has valuable and precious books that I can study from so I can spread goodness and teachings in the world. And the queen granted the rabbi his request. The story, of course, my friends, teaches us we are here on earth to help one another. Harry and Alex Ajmi help people from all walks of life, no matter where they come from, no matter what part of society they belong to. They are there to give back to society. We all know the famous phrase, to give is to receive. So my friends, let's give. Let's give to GOSO and let's receive. Thank you.
Harry and Alex, please come up. There's another gentleman on the podium. His name is?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Thorne.
All right. Now, when the Ajmi brothers first came to GOSO, we only talked about one thing, and that is how do we secure employment in the construction business for guys who had been formerly incarcerated. And they said, leave it to us. And so tonight, Alex and Harry, I would like you to meet your first employer, the first employee from GOSO in the construction business, Michael Thorne. There were actually two other young men here tonight, but they have curfews, and you don't miss a curfew. If you're at GOSO, you don't miss curfews. You adhere to the rules. So Michael's here representing the 3 employees who start on Monday. Yeah. That's it. Now, Alex has informed me that Harry's the spokesperson, but I got to tell you something. I love this guy, and the reason I love Alex is the way he related to the GOSO guys, giving them the right answers that they need to have to get great jobs. So, Alex, congratulations.
Congratulations.
I love you.
Mark, thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Mark.
There we go. Then there's Harry. And when you meet Harry Ajmi, you're meeting a character. Let me tell you, this guy is from another place, and he's a place where we all should come from because he understands Harry and Alex both get it. So Alex, if you would just say a few words as recipients of this honor, we'd appreciate it.
Good evening, everybody. I want to talk about my brother, Harry, that devoted his life to countless charities. You know, I come to work in the morning and I see people waiting in the reception area. And I go to him. I say, Harry, we have a business to run. Stop. I mean this. And he says, I can't. I want to help the people. I want to do good. And it's an unbelievable thing to give to people. And that's his life. He enjoys it more than making $1 billion. And his entire days go to different organizations, different people that have strifes in their lives, people that come to him and tell him they need help. And day after day, that's what he does. I want to say one thing about GOSO. My brother came to me and told me Charlie Kushner called him and said he wants us to get involved in this organization. And this is a true story. And I said, Harry, why do we want to get involved in this? Charlie told him, spend 5 minutes with Mark. If you don't like him, throw him out of your office. This is true. So Mark came. It was 2 hours before he left the office. We were infatuated with him. And I was still on the fence before we got involved. And I said to Mark told me, I'm sorry, come to Harlem, meet the guys. If you don't like it, the same thing that Charlie did, get out. So I drove up to Harlem. I met about 35 guys. And one of the guys I spoke, I wanted to adopt one of the people there. He had droopy eyes, and I fell in love with him. Another guy came over to me and says, why are you doing this for us? I can't believe it. And I had chills through my entire body. And this is a magnificent organization. I'm happy to be part of it. I want to introduce my brother, Harry.
I'll be brief. The night is getting long. First, I didn't expect my brother to speak as well as he did and as eloquent as he did, because he told me in the car on the way over, I'm not speaking tonight, right? I said, Al, you don't have to say a thing. But I think we're an example, before I talk about a couple of things that I want to bring up, I think that we're an example of brothers that might be different, but are the same, because our hearts go out to the needy. Our hearts both go out to the downtrodden, to the people that have less than we've been given, the opportunity we've been given to give back. So I'm not alone in giving back, because not only does Alex give back, but think about it. We're partners. We're 50-50. We're equal. If he didn't give me this opportunity to do the things that he said, then we couldn't get along. We couldn't be partners. We couldn't live in the same office together. But yet we do. We do it in unison. We do it like a maestro on stage. And that's because of some of the experiences that we had in our lives, some of the things that made us who we are today. I must say, we are thankful to the Lord, the God Almighty, for what he's given us, for what he's given all of you. You should all every day of your lives, wake up, be thankful for what you have, be thankful for who you are. Complaining is not something that's in my agenda. Somebody says to me every day, how you doing? I said, I'm great. But then I go on to say, but if I wasn't, I'm still great, because that's what you're supposed to be. You're supposed to get up, be thankful. And go about your lives that way, because there are a lot of apples, but not every day applesauce is made. It's not all the time that we're going to have applesauce out of the apples. And we need to know that. And why am I bringing that up? Because here are these guys that are going through, and I know we've heard a lot about GOSO tonight, but these young men that are so challenged, and I thought about it, and that's why when Charlie Kushner called me up, we got to know each other in Deal, New Jersey. We are members of the same community and the same background. We go to the same charity functions and give and help out. But, you know, to give your time to something like this, which is out of the norm, it's out of the ordinary for my brother and I, it's so special, it's so amazing, it's so wonderful to be here and know that what we're doing, what we're about to do. When I thought about GOSO and now what Alex just accomplished with one of the construction companies that he's involved in, and it doesn't matter who, where, which one. And then he tells me about an hour and a half before the event that 3 of the young men need to fill out papers. Monday morning, they start their jobs. They have a job. So to some of us that have work and have been working, okay, it's not a big deal. But to these 3 guys, what it's going to do, it's going to change their lives, because now, on Friday, when they pick up a check,
This is one of the guys.
when they pick up a check,
First guy.
and this is what Mark's all about. This magnanimous, beautiful man. This is what he's about. You look at him and you say, "That's what Alex said. What are you doing?" I go up to Harlem on the train with Rabbi Eli, because you take a car in the city today, you don't get where you got to get ever, let alone on time. And you see him sitting there, and you see the passion of this man. And then you understand that every single individual that he and his GOSO organization, this amazing, incredible team are doing, are nothing short of saving lives. Nothing short of that. Because once these young men have this opportunity and they pick up a check, they start to believe in themselves. They go back into their homes, their cities, their boroughs, wherever they are in Queens, Brooklyn, wherever they come out of. And whoever wants to attract them on the bad side of the fence, they can't get them anymore. Hey, buddy, I got a job now. Get out of here. I'm good. So, I'm glad you're all here tonight. I give a tremendous honor to Mark for doing what he's doing. He's getting up in his years. He's a young 26. We bless him to be there, to get to 116th Street. It's across 110th Street like we know. And it ain't easy up there. And we want to bless him, this man and his wife, to live long and to continue to save. He's doing nothing short of saving lives. 2, Charlie Kushner for calling me and telling me, you and Alex, I would hope that you would say yes to me to accept an award. We don't need awards. We don't need honors. This is not about that. This is about what's happening in Harlem. This is about what GOSO is doing. This is about what Mark and his people are up to. So thank you, Charlie. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to my brother and I. We're at $220,000 so far. We're not stopping. We want to try and get it to $250,000 by tomorrow. That's what we've raised. We have most of the money in checks already, and that's what our contribution is for GOSO. Thank you. God bless everybody for coming here tonight and being a part of this.
All right, we're going to, John Berman promised 9:15. I need another 15 minutes. I promise you by 9:30 we'll be out of here. But we have 2 more awards that we have to give. And I believe Reg is up next. Am I right? All right. Our chairman, Reg Andre, please give him a good welcome.
I will be brief, probably a little bit less exciting. So last year, GOSO began recognizing our strongest relationships with private companies by awarding a Corporate Partner of the Year award during our annual gala. This award is meant to acknowledge companies that have shown a strong and true commitment to GOSO, its mission, and the young men we serve. So last year, the first ever recipient of this award was Goldman Sachs. They didn't win it this year. But that may or may not have had to do, in part, with me hounding all of my Goldman coworkers to volunteer, donate, or just to do something, or even come tonight, and a lot of them are here tonight. But they all did, and we acknowledge them for it. And afterward, we were thinking that Goldman had left some pretty big shoes to fill, which that is very true, but the shoe certainly fits with this year's Corporate Partner of the Year, Deloitte. Deloitte's relationship with GOSO is long-standing and strong. Deloitte has had a powerful presence on GOSO's board for over 5 years, first with Andy Koenigsberg, who has since become an advisory director and was an important mentor of mine, followed by Brian Morrell, who joined the board in early 2016 and is now the chair of our Audit and Finance Committee. Deloitte has hosted both GOSO's board and staff in Deloitte's offices for years now to have its experts facilitate full-day strategy and leadership retreats, a service typically offered only to its clients and senior executives. And as part of Deloitte's annual Impact program, where employees are given a paid day off to do community service with select organizations, Deloitte's employees worked with GOSO guys on teamwork, critical thinking, and communication skills. And since that Impact Day, many Deloitte employees have continued to volunteer and contribute to GOSO in meaningful ways. Deloitte and its employees have shown a true commitment to working with GOSO, and it's my pleasure to present them with GOSO's 2017 Corporate Partner of the Year Award. To accept this award on Deloitte's behalf is Anthony Campanelli, a partner in Deloitte's forensic practice and an office leader of risk and financial advisory practice in New York. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Anthony Campanelli to accept this award.
Well, thank you very much, Reg, for that warm introduction, and thank you for this very special award. I am very honored to accept this award on behalf of Deloitte and to join all of you here tonight to celebrate the great work and amazing achievements of GOSO. I think we can all agree that this has been an inspirational night. A night defined by resilience, hard work, opportunity, and hope. The personal stories we heard tonight are vivid reminders of why the work we all do is so critical, so transformative, and so expansive in its reach. Deloitte is very proud to be part of this journey, a journey that keeps on getting better and better as this group sets new records in participation and deepens the connections in the community. We heard tonight about the results. They're impressive. 90% of the GOSO members stay out of prison. 81% employment retention rate. 71% engagement in work and school. These are great statistics. The difference that we are all making in the lives of the individuals we serve is undisputable. Making an impact that matters is the heart of our mission at Deloitte. And having the ability and the opportunity to work with GOSO to create a path of positive and lasting change is incredibly rewarding for us. Again, I want to thank our retired partner, Andy, for initiating our involvement and setting in motion a series of opportunities to help further GOSO's mission. I also want to recognize my fellow partner, Brian Morell, who currently serves on GOSO's board, and for keeping our firm so engaged. As Reg mentioned, through the years, we've helped GOSO in a variety of different ways, from strategy planning to retreats for staff development to skills-based volunteering. We're proud of our people that have helped us with coaching days, interview training, letter writing, and other forms of support, like volunteering at our annual Impact Day that Reg mentioned, Deloitte's National Day of Service. And we're looking forward to this year's program at Impact Day, which is one more month from now. Let me close by saying how inspired we all are at Deloitte by this great organization and how excited we are for all the important work that lies ahead for both us and for this organization. It is a great honor for me, on behalf of the firm, to work alongside this outstanding team, and thank you very much for this special recognition.
Okay, we're coming down the home stretch. We got about 15, 20 more minutes. But you know what? We have a special award before we get to the live give. Every organization has its Employee of the Year, and this person has no idea that the entire staff decided there was only one person who should be our employee, and that is Sarah Blanco. Where is Sarah? I hope we've shocked you, Sarah. Here she comes. All right. Did we fool you?
Yes.
We fooled you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Just a few words to say.
Well, I'm really surprised. I just want to shout out to the best staff and board that I've ever worked with. I've been a social worker for a long time, and this is the best job I've ever had. So thank you to the guys, and thank you, MG.
You know, somebody once said you should marry up in this world. I know I did, and so did Luis Blanco. He has actually become our art director. So once you get to GOSO, it's all about family. Sarah, you're a pleasure.
Oh, thank
you. Thank you all so very much for coming tonight. It's been a wonderful evening. I think it was beyond our wildest expectations. And I certainly think we have the Ajmi brothers to thank for all of that. Thank you all for coming. It was great to see you. GOSO is a wonderful organization. Mark is right there. Mark, wave goodbye, MG. I'll let Mr. G have the final word.
There aren't enough people here to give Mr. John Berman a hand. John Berman did a hell of a job. Thank you, John. And everybody have a great night. Thank you for coming.